Hi everyone. This is the seventh lecture for your chapter Photosynthesis in Higher Plant. In this class, we will end the chapter Photosynthesis. If you have any doubts, please feel free to reach out to me. Okay. Otherwise, we have covered all the important topics which are required for your NEET. Okay, for clearing NEET. As always, I would suggest going through your textbook and then going through whatever material has been given to you and solving as many problems as you can. Chalo. So, in this class, what we will be studying are the factors affecting photosynthesis. What all factors can affect the process of photosynthesis? As you may already know, in the last class we have discussed C4 plants, CAM plants, photorespiration, how C4 plants and CAM plants, okay, they have better adaptations. They are better adapted against photorespiration, how they give better yield and can even survive at higher temperatures, right? So after studying all of that, now we study what all things can affect the photosynthesis or the rate of photosynthesis. There are two different classes of factors. Okay, one is internal factors. Internal factors meaning the factors which are inherent in the plant itself, in the leaf itself. And then there are external factors. External factors are the ones which are in the surrounding, okay, the environmental factors. Fine. Starting with the internal factors, the first factor is number of leaves. So if there are more number of leaves, there will be more amount of photosynthesis. So there is direct proportionality, okay, direct connection. If there are more leaves, there is more photosynthesis, fine, and there is more production of sugar. If there are less number of leaves, there is less photosynthesis. This can be again observed if you go and check the rate of photosynthesis or the amount of photosynthesis in a plant which has bloomed in spring, okay, Vasant. So in spring, you will find a lot of new leaves and they will be doing a lot of photosynthesis. While in case of autumn, Pankhar, if you go and look at the autumn plants, then there will be very little or very few, even none uh, leaves present on the plant. So at that time, there will be less photosynthesis or zero photosynthesis. Fine. Then the second thing is size of leaves. If the leaf is small, the photosynthesis will be less. If the leaf is big, the photosynthesis will be higher. Then it also depends on orientation of leaves. Okay, orientation meaning whether it is flat, whether it is parallel, perpendicular, what kind of arrangement it has in reference to the sunlight. Okay, so let me just show you. If here is your sun, this is your sunlight. If it is falling and your leaf, it is directly flat, okay, it is perpendicular to falling sunlight, then it will be having a higher amount of photosynthesis. But let us say if this sunlight is falling and your leaf, okay, it is flat like this, right? It is flat like this, in which case it will not be able to do a lot of photosynthesis. Okay, so these are the differences between orientation. Okay, highest rate of photosynthesis when the leaves are aligned. Okay, they are aligned perpendicularly in optimum direction to catch light. This you must have also heard in case of auxin. Okay, when we will discuss those plant hormones also, auxin, you will know that plants leaves basically shoot, okay, of the plant, it tries to move towards sunlight so as to get more and more light, and when there will be more light falling onto the plant, it will do a lot of photosynthesis. It depends on the number of chloroplast. If there are higher number of chloroplast, then there will be more photosynthesis. If less number of chloroplast, there will be less amount of photosynthesis. It also depends on the amount of chlorophyll in the chloroplast. Okay. In the mature leaf, there is highest amount of chlorophyll. The leaf that you find dark green or green in color has highest amount of chlorophyll, followed by the young leaves, which are just small and lemon yellow or lemon green colored leaves, okay, small in size, and they have less amount of chlorophyll, as well as there will be a lot of immature chlorophyll. And finally, in the old leaves, which are almost brown, okay, or they are decaying little by little, they will have least amount of chlorophyll, and so they will be doing least amount of photosynthesis. So remember this, mature leaf will have a lot of chlorophyll, then followed by young leaves, and then the last will be old leaves. They will have the least amount of chlorophyll. Now discussing the external factors, okay, the factors, environmental factors which affect the rate of photosynthesis. The first factor and the first and the of course the simplest factor will be carbon dioxide. Atmospheric carbon dioxide concentration is about 0.03 to 0.04%, which I had already told you is very less compared to oxygen, which is 21%, right? So the carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere is already very less. So this here is the limiting factor. Okay, in photosynthesis, you are ready with everything. Think of it like a wedding. Okay, there is bride, there is bridegroom, dulha, dulhan, everybody is ready. Then you even have guest, you have everybody. But the pandit is missing. Then who will do the ceremony, right? So same way here, you have everything. You have enough water, you have enough light, you have enough chlorophyll, everything is proper, but you do not have enough carbon dioxide. So that is called a limiting factor. Okay, the thing with the component or the factor which is always or present near its lowermost value is called limiting factor. In this case, in case of photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is always the limiting factor. Okay, it is always less in concentration in the atmosphere, which is causing it to be the limiting factor. Increase till 0.05% can increase the carbon dioxide fixation. Beyond this, the level can become damaging over longer periods. Okay, again, the photosynthesis has been made in such a way, the whole process, that it can tolerate up till 0.05% of carbon dioxide, but more than 0.05% is again damaging to the leaf. Okay, let us see here, this here on the y-axis is the rate of photosynthesis, and on the x-axis you have concentration of carbon dioxide. You can see here from 0, as the concentration of carbon dioxide is increasing, you can see the rate of photosynthesis is also increasing, right? It is almost proportional in this area. After a certain limit, which is 0.04, it starts to become saturated. So here the rate of photosynthesis becomes constant. It has no effect even if you increase the carbon dioxide level. Okay, so at this point, if the carbon dioxide levels are okay, there is saturation because of carbon dioxide, you either need to change the temperature or light intensity to again increase the rate of photosynthesis. Fine. Otherwise, carbon dioxide is at its maximum possible concentration, and even the rate of photosynthesis is at its maximum possible rate. Carbon dioxide will always remain a limiting factor in C3 plants. However, this is not a limiting factor in C4 plants. Okay, it is not a limiting factor in C4 plants because they concentrate carbon dioxide into the bundle sheath cells. So the Calvin cycle will never run out of carbon dioxide, and hence it is not a limiting factor for C4 plants. This is an important point, remember it. During the day, there is higher photosynthesis compared to respiration. Okay, aerobic respiration, which we shall study in the next class. Okay, we will be starting with respiration next. So there is higher photosynthesis, less respiration. At night, there is less photosynthesis and more respiration. So whatever sugar has been synthesized in the morning will be used by the plant at night. Okay, so it will release the carbon dioxide, it will do the aerobic respiration at night, and in the morning it will do more photosynthesis. In the evening, the rate of photosynthesis is equal to rate of respiration. This point is called the compensation point. Okay, here there will be equal amount of photosynthesis and equal amount of respiration taking place. This is called compensation point. The second factor affecting photosynthesis is temperature. The biosynthetic phase especially, which is your enzymatic phase, okay, or your dark reaction. It is specially dependent on the temperature. Why? Because it has a lot of enzymes, right? So on every increase of 10 degrees, the rate of photosynthesis doubles. If you go to a place which has 10-degree temperature, okay, let us say the photosynthesis rate was 10. If you increase the temperature to 20 degrees, the photosynthesis rate will also increase to 20. Okay, so it will keep on doubling. Till what temperature? Till 40 degrees Celsius only. If above 40 degrees you increase the 10 degrees, then it will not show more photosynthesis. In fact, it will show reduced amount of photosynthesis. Right? Let us see here. On the x-axis is your leaf temperature in the diagram given in degrees Celsius, starting from 0 till 50 degrees. On the y-axis, you have photosynthesis rate. Okay, the rate of photosynthesis. The green one is the C3 plant, blue is C4, and gray colored is the CAM plants. Let us see here. So in the C3 plants, it acts best near the 30-degree range, okay, 20 to 30-degree range. So at, let us say, lower temperatures, there is low photosynthesis. As the temperatures keep on increasing, okay, there is higher rate of photosynthesis. It becomes saturated, it becomes maximum around 20 to 30 degree. Okay, there is this range of 20 to 30 degree where it is best. After that, if you keep on increasing the temperature above 30, the C3 plants will shift to photorespiration, okay, instead of photosynthesis. And so you will see the rate of photosynthesis will decrease. Fine. In case of C4 plants, they function around 40 degrees. Okay, so their optimum is around 30 to 40 degrees Celsius here. So there also you will see there is slight increase in photosynthesis rate with increase in the leaf temperature. As it keep on increasing up till 40 degrees, there will be rise in the rate of photosynthesis. After 40 degrees, if you increase the temperature, the enzymes will denature. Okay, so in biosynthetic phase, you have a lot of enzymes. If the enzyme itself denatures, there will be no synthesis of glucose, and so the photosynthesis rate will decrease. Clear? And in case of, here is the granulation acid metabolism plants, CAM plants, you can see there will be slight increase in the photosynthesis rate with increase in temperature, but there is no such effect of temperature as such. I'll tell you why. Because most of the carbon fixation happens at night. At night there is not much fluctuation of temperature. Okay, there may be little slight fluctuation, but there is not as much fluctuation as in the day. You may know in the morning the temperature may be 27 degrees, then at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock the temperature may rise to 30 degrees. In the afternoon the temperature can be 40 degrees, in the evening again it is 37, at night it is let us say 27 again. So in the morning there is a lot of fluctuation in temperature, but the CAM plants, they are actually fixing their carbon dioxide at night. Okay, so at night there is not a lot of fluctuation, and so it is not much dependent on the temperature directly. Above 40 degrees, the enzyme denature, hence the rate of photosynthesis decreases. So the optimum, you can say the optimum range is 25 to 40 degrees Celsius. The exception is in conifers. Conifers are the plants you see in very cold climate. Okay, so in conifers they can photosynthesize up to minus 35 degrees Celsius. Now they are living in snow, they are living in very cold climate, so they are adapted to it, and they can even do photosynthesis in minus 35 degrees Celsius. Then another exception is Opuntia, which is a type of cactus. It can photosynthesize even at 55 degrees Celsius, and hence you can see a lot of cactus in the desert also. Okay, have you seen in desert you even find such cacti, right? So they can photosynthesize up to 55 degrees Celsius. The third external factor is light. In light there are three parameters you have to see: the quality of light, the intensity of light, and the duration of light. We have already seen this absorbance curve. Okay, here are the different wavelengths, and this is the absorbance. The leaf plant or the chlorophyll, they absorb most in the blue light and then in the red light. So this is the quality of light. Okay, it should be red light or it should be blue light, where it will absorb the most. Then the light intensity. Light intensity we had already seen during photorespiration, if you remember, right? So there should be a perfect light intensity. At lower light intensity, the photosynthesis rate will be low. At higher, very high light intensity also, the chlorophyll will denature. So there will be less amount of photosynthesis. The light intensity should be optimum for higher rate of photosynthesis. And then comes the light duration. Okay, the light duration should also be necessary. Fine, it is not such so that you can just give 1 second of light and expect a lot of photosynthesis to occur, right? So photosynthesis, it occurs maximum when there is a long duration of light. Light quality, as I already told you, it can photosynthesize when there is blue light and red light. So this here is the what you can say, uh, let me just describe what it is. Okay, so there will be most photosynthesis happening in the white light. Why in the white light? Because in white light there is red light as well as blue light, right? So it is a mixture of all different wavelengths, and hence the rate of photosynthesis will be highest in white, followed by red. So there will be higher photosynthesis in case of red light, followed by blue light. Okay, red and blue are almost close enough. And the least amount of photosynthesis will happen in green light, because you can see the green light is not at all absorbed. Okay, it is not absorbed at all. So if the light itself is not absorbed, then it will not be helping in formation of ATP and NADPH, and so the photosynthesis rate will be less. Light intensity also we had seen. The rate of photosynthesis is directly proportional to light intensity. Here you can see as the light intensity increases, the rate of photosynthesis also increases. After a certain light intensity, it becomes saturated. Okay, it becomes flatlined. And I had already shown you that if you increase the light intensity even more, then there will be denaturation of the chlorophyll, there will be photo bleaching of chlorophyll, and so the rate of photosynthesis will decrease. Right, so rate of photosynthesis saturates at 10% of total sunlight. So this saturation, okay, there is increase in the rate and then it becomes constant. So this saturation can occur at 10% of total sunlight. So if you consider the total sunlight to be 100%, at 1/10 of that capacity, it can saturate. Right, so very high intensity causes photooxidation of different cellular components, including chlorophyll, and this process is called solarization. Right, the photo bleaching or photooxidation of chlorophyll is called solarization. There can also be photo inhibition. This we shall see when we talk about the transport. Okay, when we discuss transpiration. When there is higher light intensity, the the stomata of your leaf, they are closed. Okay, so high light intensity closes the stomata. If the stomata are closed, carbon dioxide cannot enter. If carbon dioxide cannot enter, then there will be reduced rate of photosynthesis. This is called photo inhibition. Okay, and this may also result because of solarization. Okay, because of solarization also this can be seen. Right, duration of light, photosynthesis can take place even in a flash of light, but the rate of photosynthesis is more in discontinuous light than continuous light. The light is rarely a limiting factor. Okay, light is not normally a limiting factor. Fine, unless the plant is in shade. If the plant is grown under shade, then it is not getting enough light, so light can become a limiting factor. In case of a dense forest, okay, if it is a rainforest, then the plants which are seen on the floor, they might not be able to get enough oxygen, in which case it becomes a limiting factor. Then under a cloudy sky, if there is always a cloud cover, or if there is suddenly a cloud cover, then it will not allow enough light to reach the plant. Okay, and so light will become a limiting factor for photosynthesis. And if the plant is underwater, um, inside the water or underwater, the light will not be able to pass through a lot of layers. Okay, so if the plant is growing underwater, then the light is a limiting factor. The next factor affecting photosynthesis is oxygen. High oxygen decreases the rate of photosynthesis. We already saw this. This is called Warburg's effect. In C4 plants, the concentration of oxygen does not affect the rate of photosynthesis because it will never exceed carbon dioxide concentration. We also saw why this will never happen. Okay, C4 plants are specially made so that the oxygen levels do not harm the Calvin cycle, or the it does not lead to photorespiration. Then comes water. If there is deficiency of water, then the stomata will close. If the stomata are closed, then of course carbon dioxide cannot enter. Second thing, if there is deficiency of water, the leaves will wilt. Okay, murjha jhana. So the leaves or the plant itself will wilt, and if it wilts, तो એનો જે surface area છે, okay, that surface area of the leaf, it becomes reduced, and when the surface area of the leaf is reduced, the photosynthesis rate will also decrease. Then different minerals, like deficiency of copper. Copper is required for synthesis of chlorophyll, okay, and for other different parts as well. So that zinc is required for some enzymes, magnesium is required for ATP, right? Can cause chlorosis, or magnesium again is required for chlorophyll as well. So chlorosis is basically chlorophyll breakdown. If there is deficiency of copper, zinc, or magnesium, it can lead to chlorosis. And if there is chlorophyll breakdown, then the rate of photosynthesis will also decrease. If there is deficiency of manganese, calcium, or chlorine, which are required for photolysis of water, this can also lead to decrease in the rate of photosynthesis. Okay, so these manganese, calcium, and chlorine are also important for photolysis of water and hence for photosynthesis. Then there are some inhibitors which can affect photosynthesis. Mostly weedicide or herbicide that are used may affect photosynthesis. Example is DCMU. DCMU is also known as diuron. Its full form is dichlorophenyl dimethyl urea. Okay, so you can just draw a structure of urea and substitute it with dichlorophenyl and dimethyl, and that is the structure of DCMU. This DCMU, it inhibits the electron transfer. Okay, remember this electron transfer which was happening from PS2 to PS1, right? So all this electron transfer will be inhibited by this DCMU, and hence it will not allow the electron to go forward, and if that is not allowed, then NADPH will not be formed. There is also diquat or paraquat, which is another type of inhibitor which inhibits this electron transfer from photosystem 2, PS2, to NADP plus, okay, to ferredoxin, and so this can also affect the rate of photosynthesis. Right, so the external factors affecting photosynthesis, they have a special law which is called law of limiting factor by Blackman. I'm sure you must have already understood this limiting factor by now, but let us just see the definition. Okay, if a chemical process is affected by more than one factors, then its rate will be determined by the factor which is at suboptimal level or nearest to its minimal value. It is a factor which directly affects the process if its quantity is changed. Do not be what I can say confused or afraid of this statement. Let us go through it one by one. If in a chemical process, okay, any chemical process, it is affected by more than one factors. Here we saw it can be affected by carbon dioxide, light, oxygen, temperature, a lot of factors. So in such cases, the rate, what will decide the rate of this reaction? The rate of this chemical process or this reaction will be determined by the factor which is at its lowest concentration. Okay, as I had already told you, think of a wedding, and in the wedding you have everything ready. Okay, you have the bride, you have bridegroom, you have guest, but the Pandit is absent. In this case, the Pandit will become the limiting factor. Fine. Let us say in the second scenario, the bride is absent. In this case, the bride becomes the limiting factor. So the factor which is at its suboptimal level, optimum is the best level, okay, required for working. And if this uh, whatever the factor is there, it is less than its optimal level, it is called suboptimal level. So the factor which is at its suboptimal or near to its minimal value, this factor will determine the rate. Okay, that Pandit will determine whether the shadi will take place or it will not take place. It is the factor which directly affects the process if its quantity is changed. If you suddenly provide the wedding with a Pandit, then the wedding will proceed ahead, right? So if you provide such kind of chemical reaction with the limiting factor, okay, whatever, let us say carbon dioxide was lacking, and if you give carbon dioxide to this reaction, it will proceed ahead. Okay, so it is the factor which directly affects the process if its quantity is changed. Let us understand this with a graph. Okay, I know this is a little more detailed, but just stay with me. Okay, you will be able to understand very well. On the x-axis is your light intensity. It is given in candles. Okay, candle hours, 500, 1000, 1500, 2000, 2500. Fine. It is given in foot candle hours. The unit is not important for us. Just remember, on the x-axis you have light intensity. On the y-axis you have rate of photosynthesis. Let us see it now. Now let us say the first scenario. Okay, scenario number 1. The carbon dioxide level is 0.01 and the temperature is 20 degrees. So what will happen? There will be increase in the rate of photosynthesis. Okay, you can see the small increase in rate of photosynthesis, but it will not increase above this level. It will become saturated. Why? Because there is not enough carbon dioxide. Okay, the light intensity is proper. You are keep on increasing the light intensity. Even the temperature is okay, but the carbon dioxide level has become limiting. Okay, so here carbon dioxide is insufficient or limiting, 0.01. Now, what do you do to overcome this? Scenario number 2. You are giving it excess carbon dioxide. Okay, to the same reaction, to the same thing. You have same 20 degrees, you have the same light intensity. The only change you have made is in the carbon dioxide. You are giving it excess carbon dioxide. Can you see how much difference it can make? So now carbon dioxide is not the limiting factor. Okay, you have excess carbon dioxide, it is at 20 degrees. Um, it is increasing with increase in the light intensity, the rate of photosynthesis, and then it is becoming saturated. Now what you are doing is you are increasing the temperature. Okay, you saw that carbon dioxide is no longer limiting. So what else can you change? You can change the temperature. If instead of at 20 degrees you keep it at 35 degrees, so now you have excess carbon dioxide, you have 35 degrees temperature, and you are also increasing the light intensity. So you will see there is direct increase in a rate of photosynthesis with increase in the light intensity, and at a very high rate it will become saturated. Okay, when there is excess carbon dioxide and excess at 35 degrees Celsius. So here there is no limiting factor. Okay, so the limiting factor is not present. In the first case, limiting factor was carbon dioxide. In the second case, limiting factor was temperature. And in the third case, there is no limiting factor. Clear? I hope this much was enough for you to understand this law of limiting factor. It will always be the factor which is at its lower most value. Okay, and if you increase that one factor, okay, the quantity of that one factor, there will be a significant increase in the rate. So as you can see here, just by increasing the carbon dioxide concentration, there is a significant increase in the rate. Then increasing the temperature also is giving you a significant increase in the rate. Fine. Okay. So again, this was a table that is given in your textbook. I think this is important and we should go through it once. The carbon dioxide fixation rate under high light condition. It will be medium in case of C3 plants and high in case of C4 plants. So if there is high light conditions, in C4 plants, the rate of photosynthesis will be higher. Photorespiration in presence or under the low light condition will be negligible in C3 plants, will be negligible in C4 plants. Okay. Remember, you require high intensity light for photorespiration to take place. Photorespiration is present at low CO2 concentration. So yes, there is a lot of photorespiration at lower carbon dioxide concentration in case of C3 plants, while there is negligible photorespiration in C4 plants at low carbon dioxide concentration. Photorespiration is present at high carbon dioxide concentration, so no, it is negligible in case of C3 plants when carbon dioxide level are more, and it is negligible in C4 plants if the carbon dioxide level are more. Actually, you can see that low carbon dioxide or high carbon dioxide, it does not affect C4 plants at all, right? The concentration of carbon dioxide for saturation of rate of photosynthesis. Okay, remember here this excess carbon dioxide, okay, which was saturating the rate of photosynthesis. So that carbon dioxide level is 450 microliter per liter in case of C3 plant, while it is 360 microliter per liter in C4 plant. So from this, just from the numbers, you can come to know that the saturation can be achieved by less amount of carbon dioxide in case of C4 plants, but it requires more carbon dioxide in case of C3 plants to reach saturation. Clear? Temperature optimum in C3 plants, it normally works better at 20 to 30 degrees, but in your textbook it is given 20 to 25. So stick to that value, 20 to 25 degrees. And C4 plants, they function better at higher temperature, which is 30 to 40 degrees Celsius. And with that, we are done with the chapter of photosynthesis. And next, we will be starting with respiration, okay, which is nothing but it is just the ulta reactions of photosynthesis. Okay, in photosynthesis, we were using carbon dioxide, we were using water to make sugar plus oxygen. In respiration, we will be using sugar and oxygen to oxidize the sugar and give you carbon dioxide plus water. So see you next time with a new chapter.